HTML lesson. Then we are going to create a new HTML document. Okay, we are going to call that template.html. And then for our template, we are going to create a template.css. So we know exactly what we are doing. Template.css. This is the styling sheet, like I introduced to us yesterday. So now if you are going to create a HTML document, now yesterday there was something I did. I just pressed Shift key and then exclamation and I entered. Okay, and that gave me Shift key, exclamation, enter. Now that gave me all these things, but I'm going to remove them and then start from the beginning. So we'll get to understand exactly what we are doing. For every HTML document, the first thing is to start with what? A doc type. Maybe I should increase the size of my screen. Okay, is to start with what? A doc type. So you create the less than symbol, and then your exclamation, and then the doc type. Now you can see that doc type here is HTML. What this doc type means is this. Now it's telling our system that we are going to create a document, and it should use the latest version of HTML. By the time we remove this doc type, our system is going to use whatever version it pleases, and most likely is going to use the older version of HTML. So here we are telling it to use the most recent version of HTML. Now the next thing is to type our HTML. Since we are creating a HTML document, HTML, I think this is what's important for now. Now we can see the opening and the closing tag. Now every other thing else is supposed to come inside this HTML. So we'll now go up and then create a head tag. Head. Now in the head section, everything that enters the head section is invisible. It doesn't appear on our on our website. Okay, we don't get to see it because the head section is where it describes our website. In the head section, you can have things like maybe say title, and then after the head, the next thing is to create a body for our document. So this is the format. The first thing is a doc type, and then after that, the next thing is a HTML. You type in HTML because you are creating a HTML document. Okay, now inside your HTML document, you are going to create the head tag, and inside the head tag, you are going to have a title. Now we are going to have a link too because we'll be linking our CSS. So we'll have the link tag. Okay, then after which we'll have the body. Everything that enters the body is what we get to see on our website. Now we are going to link our external CSS here, and the way to do it, you create the /, so you can get, once you use the /, it's going to give you all the files that are inside the folder. But you can still do template.css. Now it's going to link your template.css, but for me, I just feel the best thing to do, so you know exactly what you're doing, is to use the / and then get all the files. So you can just scroll down to where the file you want to add, and then you add it. So we are going to go back to our website and then we'll check okay, I want to be sure you guys are following. Okay, yes, I can hear you. Okay, you can start. It's okay. Now that's beautiful. Let's come here. Okay, this is the website. The site I said will be cloning. Where thou? Open up, let's see. No. Okay, it's here. No, this doesn't look like it. Then okay, this is it. Now we can see the first thing we are going to create is the bar, the status bar. Okay, this place here that says login. We have the logo, the Hostinger logo, the English, and then the USA flag, English, the WordPress, and all these things. We have them here. So I'm going to go into the website. So let's examine and then see exactly what it is. So you look for an empty space, you left click, and then you come to inspect. Okay, by the time you come to inspect, it's going to bring you here. Let me change. I think I want it like this. Okay, or let me get it like this. I think I prefer this. Now I'm going to start from here, and you see that when you highlight here, when you place your cursor here, it highlights everything that is contained in the website. Now we are going to open up the body. This is the body. This is the head. Let's see what's contained in the head. In the head, we have the meta, okay, the viewports. This is for, this makes our site responsive, okay. It makes our site responsive. And then the website template, the title, we have the link, okay, the links, and then the properties. All these are not so important. Okay, this is the JavaScript link, with time we'll go to JavaScript. And then all these are the head. Now this is where we are coming. This is the body. This is our body. So the first thing, okay, we can see that this is a div. Now this is another div. This is a div. This is a div. Now this highlights the bar I was talking about. So we are going to recreate this. We'll start from here. Okay, we can see that this is a nav bar, and then inside the nav bar there is a div. Now if we click on this div, let me click on it so we'll see something. You click on it. By the time you come to computed, now you can see that our div, this, where is it again? Okay, now this has a padding of 16. Now it does not have a border, it does not have a margin, it does not have, the position is what, 0. So we'll now go back into our 731 by 30. That means the width is 731, then the height is 30. So we'll now go back into our code and we'll start writing our code. So it's a nav bar. So inside our navbar, we are going to create a div. But first thing first, let's come to our navbar and then make sure we design it exactly the way this one looks. Because from here we can see that it is fixed. Okay, I think this now to be talking about CSS positioning, since there will be a need for that. You can see that it's fixed. Now let me try to open and see. So we'll come back here and then we'll come to our template.css. We'll style our body. Let's give it a background color of white, since what we have there is white. So we're giving it a background color of white. Now to be sure it has taken effect, let's open with live server. Please, if you have any question, feel free to ask, okay? Okay, now we have a background that is white. Sorry, a minute guys, let me connect my camera. Okay, sorry about that break. Now you can see that we have a background that is white. So we'll now go into our navbar. We'll go into our VS Code and then we'll begin to style our navbar. We can give it a class if we want. Navbar. So we'll come to our HTML, our CSS, sorry. Now there is a syntax. Let me talk about the syntax. If you are going to style a HTML element, you either use the name of the element like we did yesterday, or you use the class. This is like a revision. And then when you bring in the class, when you type the name of the class, we know how to get a class, right? I said you use your dots if it's a class, and then if it's an ID, you use your hash. But we're not working with ID, we're working with a class, so it's going to be a dot. Now we type the name of the class followed by the curly braces or the curly bracket. Now every style we are going to give to the navbar will have to come inside the curly bracket. If you give a style outside the curly bracket, it will not take effect. Okay, so we are going to say let's see again. Okay, this too has a background that is white. Now, but the reason we are seeing this is because if you look closely, you are going to see something. You are going to see a shadow that is being casted here. You are going to see a shadow that is being casted, and so we are going to do that so we can as well see our navbar. So we'll start by saying background color. Our background color, of course, will have to be white. And then we are going to give it a width. I think from there we saw the width to be 730, I think. Let me give it a border so I get to see what I'm doing. Border 1 pixel, let's say solid, and then black is okay. Now I'm going to remove the border, but I just want to okay. Let's use 100%. 100%. Now this, by the time we use percent, it's going to take the entire width of our website. Now let's go back and then see. We can see now it stretches from here to this place. Now let me show us something again. I'm going to give it a height. Let's say the height is 100 pixel. Now let's come back. Now you can see something. If you look closely, you are going to see that there is this clear demarcation between our nav bar and the body of our website, but that is not what we want to achieve. We want our nav bar to be attached to the body of our website. Now there are two ways we can do that. We can do it through CSS positioning, and then we can as well come to our body, to the body of our website, and then we say margin 0, padding 0. Now let's go back to our website and then see. Now we can now see that we have a nav bar that is attached to the body of the attached to both ends of the website. Even at the top, it is still attached. But our nav bar is moving. That's not a problem. We are going to fix that later. Now let's start by putting in things. Now let's come back to this place and then examine again. Now here we have the what is it called? The logo, the Hostinger logo, and then we have the USA flag. We are going to go back to our website and then we are going to create that. I think I downloaded the logo. You can Google the logo, you get it yourself if you want. Okay, it's a logo. It's not just an image. Let me show us how to get. Now you can see their logos here. And this is the one we are using. So you can just click. I already saved. All right. So I'm not going to be saving. I won't be saving it again since I already saved. You can just come and then save image as. You save and then you give it whatever name you want to give it. You give it whatever name you want to give it, and then it saves. But I'm not going to save again since I already have it saved already. So I will come here and then I will create a folder. This time it's no longer going to be a file. It's going to be a folder that will contain our images, whatever image you'll be using. Now the best practice is to isolate them, put your images in a separate folder. So we are going to create a folder. We'll come here now. If you are going to create a file, you see new file. But since you are creating a folder, I come here, you see new folder. Let's create a folder. We are going to call it images. And then let me come back to my download. I think I downloaded the header image. Let me check if this is it. No, okay, no, this is not. This is the other image. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is it. So I'm going to take these two images. Let me just cut, and then I'll go to our desktop, and then I'll come to HTML lesson because that's the name of, and I'll come to our image, then I'll just paste. So here we have our both images. We can now come back to our code and then come back to our template.html. Now inside our navbar, we are going to create two divs. Let me see. Okay, one div, and then another div. Now the first and the second divs, let me see. Okay. Now let's still go back and then examine our site. Template. Okay. This is, let's go the header. You see, it's beginning to narrow down. Okay. Div 1. Okay, let me not just take so much of our time looking for the divs, but we'll just come here. We'll know that there are two of them. So the first is going to contain this. Is going to contain this from here to here. So when I examined it earlier, I saw those from here to here is going to contain, and then the second div is for this section. So we are going to start working. Now we're going to give it a class of say right div. Let's call it the right div. Now remember, the right div is contained in our navbar. Now to be sure of what we're doing, let me just give it a paragraph and then type something. Usually this is what I do. Okay. And then our second div, I'll give it a paragraph too, and then I'll type something just so I get to see what I'm doing, to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, now let's come back to our site and then examine. Okay, we have these two here now, but in our website, in the let me see, you can see that these ones are lined side by side. Okay, they are lined side by side, but from mine, one is lying at the top and then the other is at the bottom. Now, how do we address that? We'll come here, I'll come to my CSS, and then I'm going to give the navbar a display. And then I'm going to give it a display of flex. We are going to flex it. So let's go back and then see what we have. Now we can see that we have these things side by side. They're no longer, one is no longer at the top while the other is at the bottom. Now this is what flex does. So we are going to come back, and then our right div will come here, and then we'll begin to style our right div. Right div. I'm going to give it a border first, so I see exactly what I'm doing. We're going to remove the border much later on, but for now I'm going to give it a border of 1 pixel, solid, and let's say red. We are going to give it a width of say 50%. Remember, the navbar we used percentage, so we will have to stick to that here. And then we're going to give it a height Now, if we say 50, if we say a height of 100%, is going to take the entire height. So let's give it a height of say 80%. If need be, we'll still adjust. Okay. Now let's go into our site and then see what we have. Fine. Now we can see there is an error. This is outside our div. So we'll come back and then correct it. So remove it. And then we'll put it here. Okay, this is for this. This is for this. This is for this. I hope we're getting it. Now let's go back and then see what we have. Okay, now you can see even though it has a property, we'll give it a div property. Now you can see that it's still like this. Then there's something I want to emphasize. That is because we'll come for paragraphs. Now paragraphs will usually take the entire space. Every paragraph will take the entire from this end to this end. If we put a third paragraph, it's still going to take from this end to this end, not minding the fact that we said our div should be flexed. Okay, so that's a property of a paragraph. That's what paragraph does. So we are going to come down, but don't worry, we'll address all those issues. What we want to put in there are those images. Let me have this like this, so I know. Okay, this is my nav bar. We are going to put those images there. So we are going to use, I'm going to create another div inside this div. Now inside this div, there is going to be an image. We are going to use an image tag because we are putting our image. You can see that the image has the source attribute and then the alt attribute. This stands for alternative. And then it's actually for, it helps those who are visually impaired. So by the time they are going through your site, they can know exactly what is there. So we'll come back and then click. Now we'll come to our images. Now this is what we want to put in, our header.png. So we'll come to the alternate and then we'll say site logo, since that's a logo. Now let's come back to our site. Okay, that's not. So it's going to be okay, download.png. Okay, now we have it here. But we'll see that it's still bigger than what it should be. So we'll go back and start styling. So we'll give it an ID. Let me give it an ID so we can style. ID. We'll call it logo. So we'll come here and then we'll start styling our logo. Remember, it's an ID, and so we'll use what? Hash logo. Okay, 10:39. We still have some time left. um, we are going to give it a width, say 50 pixel. Now let's come and then see what 50 pixel looks like. Okay, it's actually too small, so we'll come back and then increase it. So let's say 80 pixel. So we'll come back and then examine. Let's see what 80 pixel looks like. It's still very small, so we'll come and then increase. So with CSS, this is what we'll do. We just want to make sure we get the size that we're looking for. I think this is still small compared to the original. Okay, it's still small. So I'll come back. I'll keep increasing until I get what I want. Let's say 150 pixel this time. Okay, I think this looks like it. This looks like what we're looking for. Now that we have what we're looking for, we have the width 150 pixel. Let's give it a height property. Usually at times we don't give height, but let's just give, let's say 50 pixel. Let's see what that height looks like. It's still small. Okay, let's make it 80 pixel. Does this look like what we want to achieve? No, I think it's still small. So let's make it 100 pixel and then see what we have. Okay, I think this looks more like it, right? Now this looks more like it. This looks more like it. Maybe let's still increase. Let's say 110. While we make this 170. Let's make it as big as possible. Okay. Now, but we can see that it's still attached to this place, and then it's taking part. It's outside the div. So what we'll do is we'll come back and then let's tie this. Let's give it a class of image div. Image div. So I'll come back, I'll go back to my CSS and I'll begin to style my image div. It's a class, image div. Remember, the image div is contained in the right div, and the right div is taking 50% of the nav bar. Now, if we say the image div should take 100%, it's going to take 50%. It's going to take 100% of the 50%. So we are going to say let it take what? Let's give it a width of 50%. Since there is still another one there, there's still another div. So let's give it 50%. Sorry, 50%, and then a height of say 100%. That's 80. 100% of the 80%. That means it's taking the entire. Now let me get something. Let me give it a border as well. 1 pixel solid. Let's give it a different color this time, purple. I want to see what it looks like. Okay, now it has taken, we can see it's taking 50% of this 100%. It has taken 50% of this 100%. So, but it's still touching our margin here, our border, sorry. So what we are going to do is we are going to move it a bit. And I said space, yesterday I told us that space outside is called margin. So we are going to give it a margin bottom. Since we are moving it from the bottom, a margin bottom of, say, let's say 20 pixel, and then see what we get. Okay. Well, I give that to the image div. Our logo, that's where the margin button should be. Sorry, margin bottom of say 20 pixel. Let's see what we get. I think it's still there. Okay, okay, 50 pixel. Is still there. Sorry. I can see somebody saying the link is not going. But I think it's actually going. Please let me know if it's not going so we can just work on it. So we'll come back. Okay, it's still there. Now let me move it from the right. I hope I'm styling the right. Margin right. That means move from right. Let's say 20 pixel. Let's come and then see. Okay. What's happening? So this is what I will do. Now since it's not let me effect it here. Margin left, say 20 pixel. Okay, I think it has moved 20 pixel from the edge. Okay, so we'll now come and then let's give it margin bottom of say 10 pixel. Let's see what we get. Okay, I think this is looking like it. Now beside, okay, I think that's it. This. Now the next div is going to take this flag. So we are going to look for okay, don't worry, I understand. You don't understand a lot. After now, you can still private chat me, okay? If you're having issues, just private chat me. I can organize maybe another class for you. I can see you're actually new to it. But don't be discouraged. I'm going to see how to organize another class for you. The next thing we are going to put in is this, the American flag, and then the right top. So we'll come here. Let's get American flag. Okay. Let's get the American flag icon. I think this is looking like, which one is looking like the one we have here? This. Okay, I think this is it. This looks exactly like the one we have. So, okay, this, let's come for this. This, we can download this. Save image. Let me save it to my system. Okay, now I have it saved. So I'll come back to my, I'll then put it inside my image. Let me go to download. Wikipedia flag USA. Okay, I think this should be it. Let's be sure. So we don't copy something else. Okay, that's it. So we'll come here and then copy. Let me just cut. Let Now I'll come to my desktop. I have my HTML lesson, and then I'll put it inside my images. So I'll just paste it here inside my images. So I will now come back. Remember, there are two divs. Like I told us, there are two divs here. The first div is for this logo, and then the second div is for the write-up. So we'll come back and then go to our second div. So we'll now remove this one and then create a div. Now inside this div, we are then going to put another image, img, to get the image tag. You just type img. If you want to insert an image, you type img, you get the image tag. And then you are going to do absolute part. Absolute. You start with a /, you come to your images, and then this is the one we are looking for. So it is what, the alternate should be, let's say, American flag. So let me go back to what I was designing. Okay, we can see it here, but there is a problem. Now it's actually too big, and then that means you are going to capture it. Sorry. Remember, we have not styled this div. Let me give it a class of flag. Let's call it a flag div, since it's holding our flag. I beg your pardon. I have a message. Let me just attend to this message. 3 minutes at most. No. Okay, sorry please for that break. So we have a div here. I hope you're understanding APU. If you're not understanding, just let me know, okay? I will come back and then break things down for you to understand. Now this div has our image, and then we are going to put a paragraph. That's it. We can actually separate them, but let me try and then see what we get. Okay. Okay, it's showing. Our write-up is there. So we are going to come here and then we'll style our flag div. So I'll come here and then say flag div. We'll give it a width of let's say 50%, a height I think we reduced this height, okay, height of 100%, 100%, and then a border. Let me give it a border so I get to see 2 of 1 pixel. Solid. I'm going to give it a border of, say, green. I want to see exactly what it looks like. It's all right. Now we see something. There is a problem we have here. We have a problem here. Now our div, the two divs, they're supposed to lie side by side, but that is not happening. Remember, I told us how to address this issue the first time, right? So we'll go back to this div, the right div, this div that is holding this, and then we'll give it a property. The right div, our right div is here. So we are going to give it a display of flex. Now let's go back and then see what we have. Now you can see that our divs are lying side by side. The div that holds the logo, is here, and then the div that holds what's it called? This other write-up is here, but our flag is not yet in our write-up. It's not yet in our flag. It's not yet in our div, sorry. So we're going to put it in our div. How do we do that? We're going to style it. So let's come and then tap into our flag. Okay, now there's another thing we can do. There's another thing we can do. Now, since this is a div, and then this div is called the image div, and this div is called the right div. Down the image, the logo div and the flag div are both inside the right div. So we can just tap into the right div and then style all the images. Whatever style we apply is going to apply to all the images. So instead of picking each of the image and then applying different styles, let's now go and then tap into our right div and then image. Let's do that. So this logo, we are just going to say right div and then image. Now you can see that it applies to all. Now we have an image that looks exactly the size of this one. The image is exactly the size of this one. That's because we tapped into this thing. Okay, but there's a problem still. There's another problem. Our English here is actually supposed to be by the side of this, and then the size of this flag is way bigger than what we have here. It's way bigger than what we have here. So we're going to come back. That means there is actually a need to tap into this and then style it. But first, let's make our paragraph, which is English, go into, let's make it go into this place, into this div. Okay, so what I am going to do is that I am going to put it in a div. I'm going to create a separate div for our English div, and then we are going to paste our English. Now let's see what we have. Okay, it's not reflecting anywhere. The other thing we can do, now we're going to make it reflect, right? Remember, I told us if we want to put two elements side by side, we are going to style or give this entire div a property of flex. So let's go back and then flex it. That div is called I think our flag. Is it our flag div? What name did we give to it? Let's check. Okay, it's called our flag div. So we are going to come here and then we are going to give it a display of flex. Now let's see what we have. Okay, it's still not showing. I believe it's there, but okay, I'm going to bring it out. We'll come back to our logo. Let me give this an ID. Sorry, no. Yes, this is the source. So let's give it an ID of if we give it logo, it's going to take exactly, okay, let's just call it logo 2. Then we are going to style our logo 2. ID logo 2. Then we are going to give it a width. Let's give it a width of say 50 pixel. Now let's go and then see what 50 pixel looks like. Okay, I think the width is looking like this. Okay, still not okay, 50 pixels is actually still big. Let's give it 30 pixel and then see what we get. It's beginning to affect our image. Our image is beginning to look blur, but we are going to fix that, don't worry. Okay, let's give it 40 pixel and then let's give it a height, say 30 pixel. Let's see what 30 pixel looks like. No, 30 pixel is actually too small. Let's make it 40 pixel. Let's see if it looks like what we have. Okay, I think it looks like what we have. Now, but there's a problem. It's gone up, so we are going to move it down. Let's move it down. And then we can see that it's still far from this, whereas this one is actually close. So what I will do is I'll come back to that first div that holds what do you call this, the image. Okay, the image div, right? I will now reduce the width. Where is the image? The image div. Have I styled the image div? Okay, it's here, the image div. I gave it a width of 50 pixel. So what I'll do is 50%, sorry. Let me give it a width of 30%. And then see what we get here. Okay, I think it's beginning to get close. I think this should be it. Okay, 50%. So I will come to my logo 2 and then give it a margin top. Want to move it from the top. Give it a margin top of say 30 pixel. Let me see what it looks like. Okay, I think it's looking exactly like it. Okay, let me just increase it a bit more. Say, I beg your pardon, say 32 pixel. So I want it to be on the same line with, okay, I think we have it here now. So it has a margin top of 32 pixel. So I'm going to come back. There is this div that holds the right top, which is English. So I'll give it an ID. Let me call it right top. So we'll give it an ID of write-up. So we'll come back here and then we begin to style our write-up. Engage the message. Okay, is it still multiple? Please comment in the WhatsApp group. Let me know in the WhatsApp group, please. All right. So this is what we are trying to achieve. Where is okay, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Let me open with live server. Now I said this write-up here, English, is actually not in line with this flag. So what we are going to do is we are going to bring it in line with this flag. And then I notice my image is actually blurred. There's something I'm going to do still. Image, the logo. Let me give the still multiple. Okay, let me try and then fix it. Okay. Trying to see how to close some of these. But I think it should just display the VS code, because this is what is showing on my screen now, the VS code. Is all right. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Isaac Newton. Thank you. So this is what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to get this English down here to make it look exactly like what we have. Okay. So I call that write-up. I'm going to move it from the top. So margin top 30 pixel. Okay. it's not looking like, say, 20 pixel. Let's still see. Let's make it 25 pixel and then see what we have. Okay, let's say 28 pixel. I think this should be perfect. Okay, this is perfect. This is just perfect. So this is what we'll do next. We'll now go into, and then we'll style our text. We'll give it a font size of say 12 pixel. Let's increase the font. Okay, let's make it 18 pixel and then see what we get. Okay, I think this is enough. We want it to be in line with, so make this 26. And then let's increase the font weight. Let's increase the font weight to say bold. Let's see what we have. Okay, I think this is bold now. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to move it a bit from our flag. So we are going to give it a margin left of say 2 pixel. Let's see what margin left of 2 pixel looks like. Okay, I think we've achieved it. Now the next thing is to remove our what's it called, our borders, so we can get exactly the design that we're trying to achieve. First thing, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove all the borders. I'm going to remove all the borders. I'm going to remove this border too, except for the nav bar because I still need it. Okay, this is looking like it, but we have a problem. We have a problem. Now let's go and examine our image. As a programmer or a web developer, you are definitely going to need your what's it called, your dev tools. Okay, now we see this is what I'm trying to achieve. This is what I'm targeting. So this is in my body. Let me open the body. Okay, the nav. Now the first div, you can see we're highlighting the first div. So we are going to look for the div that holds the image. Then we are going to see the, okay, this is the div that holds the first image. Okay, let's check what our image looks like. Okay, now let's highlight our image and then see the layout. You can see that it doesn't have a padding, but it has a margin of 170 over 110. 170 over 110. I'm going to show us why 170 by 110. So let's go back to our code. Remember what we are trying to achieve. Now it's overlapping, and so it's taking this place, which is not supposed to be so. So we'll go back to our code and then check why. What name did we give to it? Okay, logo. Now we called it logo or the image div. Let me see what happens there. The image div. It has a height of 100%. And then our logo, okay, logo 1, we have not styled logo 2. So we are going to reduce the height and then let's make it 80% and then see what we get. I think it's still there. Let's make it 60 and then see what we get. Okay, it's still there. But let me check. Let me use the def tool and still check. This is our body. This is our nav bar. This is our div. This is our right div. And this is our image. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to reduce the image itself, not the div anymore. So we are going to give our div. Let's give it that. So we are going to tap into our image. Now, what is our image called? Our image is called logo. So we are going to call, it has an ID of logo. So we're going to tap into logo. And then we are going to style the height. Let's give it a height of say 40 pixels and then see what it looks like. Okay, it's too small. So let's give it a height of say 80 pixels. Let's see what we have. We're going to give it a height of we'll keep increasing until we get what we want. 100 pixels. Okay, I think this looks more like it. 100 pixels. So we are going to move our flag closer, the flag div, then the image div. So I'm going to reduce the image div. What are these? %. 28%. Let me make it 28%. Okay, now this looks like what we have. Now the next thing we are going to address will be, where is that site? I hope I didn't close it because we need it. Okay, it's here. Now we have something that looks exactly like what we have. So the next thing we are going to do is